This is absolutely not a video I ever thought in a million years that I would be making.
So James Charles' good friend and long-term supporter Tati just uploaded a 43-minute video exposing James Charles, aptly titled "Bye Sister," which as of recording this has resulted in over 3 million subs lost within the span of 5 days, the most sub loss we've ever seen on YouTube. Holy shit, James Charles must have done some insane shit to warrant this, and to a lot of people, it is warranted. But honestly, after looking into the situation, I feel like the people who are on the side of Tati are either seeing this through an extremely biased lens, or are being manipulated by Tati's video due to some evidence that she decided to not present in the video that would have weakened her case against James Charles. So the 2 points that are brought up against James Charles in this video that are causing him to lose subscribers are him trying to have sex with straight guys.
Oh my god, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay yet again, and somehow you're the victim. You know, it's really disgusting to manipulate someone's sexuality, especially when they are still, emerging into adulthood and don't quite have everything figured out.
And Tati feeling betrayed after James Charles promoted her competitor.
I also want to give a quick shout out to Sugar Bear Hair. I met their team weekend 1 at Coachella, and they really helped me and my friends out with sister security because it was crazy. You guys probably already know about their iconic hair vitamins.
While she did a bunch of business stuff to help James Charles essentially be at the place he is today. Without Tati, he probably wouldn't be as successful money and social media wise as he is currently.
I had a lot of influence at the time. My channel was much bigger. Come on my channel, do my makeup. We started talking pre-CoverGirl, so we're talking before everything exploded. My husband would spend hours on the phone looking over contracts, getting him in a better position. So we helped him get into Style Hall back when basically no one wanted to work with him because of his Ebola scandal, and everyone was really afraid that he was very toxic. But once again, we had his back. They got a boutique management around him. They finally taught him how to monetize his videos. He was making $90 a video, and because of me and my husband, he was making $2,500 immediately from a switch being flipped because his former management did not go in and do that for him.
So based off these two situations, he's really trying to push the idea that James Charles really just doesn't give a shit about people because he forces straight guys to try and have sex with him and doesn't respect the help Tati gave him because he promoted her competitor, and those two things combined show that James Charles is just not a good person and doesn't really care about people. But I feel like that's blatantly untrue, because as soon as James Charles found out that Tati was upset about him promoting his competitor, he issued this apology. "I want to publicly apologize to my close friend Tati. She's been like a mother to me since my first days in this industry and has given me more love, support, resources, and advice than I could ever ask for. This weekend I did an Instagram story for sleep vitamins I've been taking, because the brand helped me with security when the crowd around me at Coachella became unsafe. I did not accept any money for the post. As most of you know, Tati has a vitamin brand which I take on a daily basis, but in the moment I did not think about the competition, which was a major oversight. I've supported Tati both online and off like she's done for me, and I am devastated that I hurt someone that I truly love and have endless respect for." Tati dismisses this apology by saying that the only reason he made it was to do damage control because he was in contact with other drama channels.
I knew that I needed to talk to James, and I was planning on hopping in my car and, sitting down with him, but I changed my mind very, very quickly when I found out that he had been giving his side to drama channels. He had been in contact with plenty of them. I immediately knew that this was all about damage control and had little to do with his care for me, because I just don't think that he does.
But then we also have this drama channel reaching out to James Charles to comment on the situation, and he says he would rather resolve it privately rather than publicly with Tati. So unless James only declined this drama channel in particular, Tati's hunch about James contacting drama channels to try and do damage control is pretty much incorrect, and this is something she could have looked up because this video from Spill the Tea is over 2 weeks old at this point. So if the promotion was a genuine mistake and oversight by James Charles, what else do you really expect him to do? He made a public apology after she made a public call out and then decided to solve everything privately once Tati was ready to approach him. I don't really see what else James could have done in this scenario, besides not make the mistake of promoting her competitor in the first place. And considering all the reactions and responses James has given to Tati ever since this sponsor drama began, this idea of betrayal is really far-fetched to me. He seems like super sympathetic and sad that he accidentally did this to Tati, and nothing he's done since that sponsorship indicates to me that he is trying to backstab Tati in any way. If anything, it indicates the opposite because of how heartfelt and considerate his responses were.
When I confronted him on it, he cried, he apologized. Right after that sponsored post went up to have a text like, "Hey mom, love you, I'm stressed. Just so you know, XYZ, I just did this post, but it's no big."
He messaged you after doing it, informing you that he did it, saying that it wasn't a big deal. Maybe he actually thought it wasn't a big deal. I mean, if he did know this was a big deal and was trying to sneak it behind your back, why would he mention it to you in the first place? Wouldn't he hope that you just didn't notice and then take the money and run? In the video, you keep bringing up, oh, he knew this would be devastating to me prior to him making the deal. Maybe this was intentional, but all of his responses indicate to me that this was a legitimate mistake. The only evidence you have of this being done out of malicious intent is that he contacted drama channels for damage control, but in reality, they contacted him and he refused to give a public statement. And even if he did directly contact them first, as far as I know, nothing came out of that. So, call it a hunch, but I don't really think he was trying to ruin your career, Tati. Plus, Tati even mentioned that she's not really losing much money by James promoting the competitor over her.
I've never bought an ad. I don't do that, A, because I don't want to. My product is good enough on its own, and we're selling like hotcakes. Like, I don't need to at this point.
And based off James's responses, it's obviously not betrayal unless you really want to fit a square peg into a round hole. And then she says most of this isn't over the vitamins and the competition, but she's mentioned it for majority of the video. She brings it up multiple times throughout the video, keep reiterating and reiterating and reiterating that one main point of betrayal.
He could have come face to face and chatted with me because he knew that this would hurt me. To not even get a phone call, to not even get a text a few days prior, but right after that sponsored post went up to have a text like, "Hey mom, love you, I'm stressed. Just so you know, XYZ, I just did this post, but it's no big." James Charles never even apologized to my James. If this was just about Halo, then, you know that this is our business. Apologize to him too, but that's not what this is about. That I would be crazy to think that I had an exclusive with him when it came to my vitamins. And for someone that I helped when no one would, the Sugar Bear hair thing, that was a blatant lie. Like, come on. You were with me. You know what I went through to bring everything to life, the risk involved in going into a category that no one wants to get into because it's so hard and challenging. And it's not a palette. It's not something that people buy multiples of. People are not going to buy a hair vitamin from over here and one from over here because that would be too much for your system to handle. So when you pair up with my #1 competitor, it's embarrassing to me. Is it going to crush my business? No. But it's embarrassing, and you know that because of things I've had to deal with in the past. Because the reason that James always said that he couldn't promote Halo on his channel and really do heavy endorsement was because he has a teenage audience and it would just be inappropriate. Oh, come on, a 10-second ad, it means nothing. If it meant nothing, they would have just said, have the security and safety, don't worry about us. But no, there was a negotiation and I do this and you do that because there's value there. I'm not good with that. Like, you threw me under the bus. You knew how much it would hurt. I told you, I texted you, hey, I'll give you a sponsorship if you want one. Don't do this, it will hurt me. And you kept it up for 24 hours. Of course I didn't want to call you back.
was repeated so many goddamn times to drive it into the audience's head, and it was done at multiple points throughout the video instead of all in one venting chunk. This is a video that is being put on a 6 million at the time sub channel, who is known for having good production, who lives in LA, who clearly knows about business, clearly knows about lighting, cameras, editing, etc. You can see by the multiple cuts in this video that there is editing in it. It's not like this was just a quick sit down, record, turn off, upload. And she's probably reviewed this video at least a couple times before uploading it. Why else would you leave so much repetition in that video if not to drive home the point that James Charles is a bad guy? If it's just about vindicating yourself like you say in that video, just say it once. I just have a sneaking suspicion that this video was specifically made to smear James's name in order for him to lose a bunch of subs, her to gain a bunch of subs, and her to more importantly gain a bunch of sales on her Halo Beauty vitamin pills. Because not only does she bring up the betrayal of the pill ad so many times, but she also full-blown goes into advertisement mode for her product halfway through the video.
I really believe that as we evolve, whether it's cosmetics, technology, nutraceuticals, you know, everybody's always going to try and improve what once was. So for me with Halo, what I am really trying to do is improve something that already existed, yes. I wanted to dial in a formula that would work. I've never sent out PR. I've never bought an ad. I don't do that, A, because I don't want to. My product is good enough on its own and we're selling like hotcakes. Like I don't need to at this point. As we grow, maybe I will, but that's not where my spend is. Like I'm not gonna put $100,000 into an Instagram post for someone to jam a pill in their mouth and smile that probably isn't taking it. I'd rather put that $100,000 into research and creating a really dope product that people really love, and that's why they come back for more. So that's my standard when it comes to building my business and my brand, and that's my thought process when I'm creating products. I want them to work. I don't want to trick you guys.
And as she's talking about this, a little card pops up in the corner for you to go to halobeauty.com and buy some yourself. That's oddly convenient, isn't it? Now, at the end of the day, I honestly hope Tati's video is 100% true and I'm 100% wrong in this video, because honestly, if I'm right about Tati's true intentions for making this video, then Tati's video is the biggest emotional manipulation of an audience that I've ever fucking seen on YouTube.
And I always like to tell people, pain is pain, and yeah, at some point you have to feel it, express it, release it, and then set it down and move ahead, because life will never stop being painful no matter where in the world you are, no matter what your circumstances. You are always going to experience heartbreak, and that's part of being human. I'm crushed because this person was family to me. This person is someone that I absolutely loved, cared for, and would have spent all the time in the world protecting. I wrapped as much love as I could around this kid, more from like a parental stance than like a best friend stance. Oh, this is just like really hard to do. Oh my God. Okay. I absolutely loved James Charles. My husband loved James Charles.
If it is creating content that we are all emulating right now, James Charles, you are changing everything. I love you so much.
I was, from the pit of my guts, so proud. So proud. I have so much empathy for people, and I really want to see people grow and step into themselves. And I'm more the person to ask, like, well, what made you feel that you needed to do XYZ? Like, what happened to you? Or like, why do you feel like you need to do that? I'm not perfect, but I have a desire to do better all of the time. And I have a desire to grow and step into myself more and more and more. And this life means so much to me. And I know that it's not just this. And so I've always had a really forgiving heart. It's just all feeling like really intense, and like I wish you guys could like be inside of my head and understand like really, truly like what YouTube means to me and why I need this, like why I need me and you, and why I need to do things the way that I do. I have forced myself to go with my intuition and to like really try to do the right thing and to be a good person. And I know I'm a role model, and that matters to me, and that has gravity to me, and I like that. And I want to make a difference. And let me also share that when I do reach the level of success that I hope to with Halo, I'm going to make a lot of positive changes. I have huge plans for what I want to do to give back.
Listening through that video, there's so many times where she interjects with these heart-jerking, motherly type moments with James Charles and how she feels so betrayed, and then on top of that even interjects like general motivational statements to try and invoke certain emotions into her audience. And honestly, this could just be coincidental based off how she actually feels, but based on how much she talks about it and how much she randomly interjects it throughout the video, I really feel like it's more deliberate than coincidental, especially considering how aware she is of business. She's aware that making this video is a business move. Social media and all this public shit is business, which leads me to believe that this video is also about improving her business, since the main grievance she has in this video is very business related. I mean, she even talked about how she wanted to improve her business in the video itself. As she said,
"Oh my God. Time and place."
But I hope to God I'm wrong, because if any emotional thing she said in this video is disingenuous in any way, that is just so bad. That amount of emotional manipulation into the audience is honestly fucking disgusting to me. But before I get too ahead of myself on this, of course I have to mention the second most important part of this video, which is Tati explaining how James Charles pressures straight men into being gay. So I'm pretty sure there's multiple cases of James Charles trying to go after straight guys, and he's been very open about it on Twitter. That is just kind of his kink or whatever. But here I'm just going to specifically focus on the incident that Tati mentions.
The last phone conversation that James Charles and I had, he said some things telling me about a situation that happened in Seattle at my birthday, and it literally made me want to vomit. Oh my God, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay yet again, and somehow you're the victim. You know, it's really disgusting to manipulate someone's sexuality, especially when they are still, emerging into adulthood and don't quite have everything figured out. You are using your fame, your power, your money to play with people's emotions. You're threatening to ruin them. You're threatening to embarrass them. And you're doing that to have them behave sexually in your favor, even if they're straight. And you know what? That's not okay. That behavior is not okay. Whether you're a woman, a man, gay, straight, bi, whatever sexual orientation you are, that is your personal call, and it is not someone else's to take. It's not someone else's to play with. It's not someone else's to mess with. And how dare you laugh about it and make meme after meme and retweet and this and that and I love straight boys, and make it a joke. Because this behavior is not normal, it's not okay. Cracking someone's sexuality is not an escape room. This is shit that will follow them for the rest of their lives. And you need someone to tell you to stop it. And that's exactly what I did in your kitchen.
So in this video, she mentions a waiter at a restaurant that she went to for her birthday. She then said James Charles tricked this waiter into having sex with him or sexual relations.
You tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay, manipulate someone's sexuality, have them behave sexually in your favor, even if they're straight.
Or that's at least what I think she's saying. Her wording is kind of vague, and I think I know why it's vague, because the waiter actually came out with his own video explaining what exactly happened, and it's a lot less extreme than Tati implies.
And he kept asking the waiter if I was single, and they thought I was very attractive. Or he especially thought that I was very attractive, and he wanted to get my phone number and all that. But the waitstaff at my restaurant didn't let that happen. He left and it kind of just went untalked about. The next day, my sister convinced me to direct message James Charles, and I did. We can throw the screenshot up here somewhere in post. I said, "LOL, it's Sam the busser from John Howie." John Howie's the restaurant that we worked at. He replied with OMFG, and then I replied with LMAO. Then he asked me how I was, and then you can kind of read here, he's like, "Sorry about last night, you're very attractive." And then I responded with, "It's all good, very flattering actually." Then he said, "Love that. Did not know you were 19, oh my god, I am too." We proceeded to talk for a while. It was his last night in Seattle. He actually invited me out to his hotel. At that time, I was bi-curious. I had never done anything with a guy before, and I was curious. We say hi. It's all fine. We ended up watching a movie, and after that movie, he asked to kiss me. And I was very nervous, because I had never done anything with a guy, and I was bi-curious, so I said yes. We ended up making out for around an hour, and if I'm being honest, he's the worst kisser I've ever kissed. Way too much tongue. Yeah, but besides that, throughout the following weeks, we kept in contact, and my birthday was coming up on the 22nd, and he wanted to fly me out to LA. And that kind of freaked me out because at that point I was pretty sure I was straight. So I told him in a long text message that I am straight, and that if he were to fly me out, I wouldn't think it was right if I wasn't attracted to him, but if he still wanted to fly me out as friends, I gave that as an option to him. So he declined my offer and canceled the flight, and that's when he got really sad and emotional. He took to social media, and his response to me was that he didn't think that I was straight. He told me, "You're not straight." Like, I'll throw up the DM conversation right now.
So James Charles wasn't able to interact with the waiter at all until after the fact. The waiter personally reached out to James himself, accepted his invitation to a hotel, knowing it was for intimate reasons, and willingly made out with James Charles for an hour. Then he leaves, and a couple days later, James Charles messages him on his birthday to invite him down to LA, and then he says he's straight. Only then he mentions to James Charles he's straight. He kept saying he was bi-curious to James that entire time, and then all of a sudden, I'm straight. Which is a fine decision to make, but the time he revealed this information to James is really important to the story, because that means the entire time James was in physical range of this guy told James he was bi-curious. He did not tell James he was 100% straight until they were far away in different states, and it was messaged over Instagram. And then the problematic messages come up where James Charles tries to say, "Oh no, you're gay, everybody has a little bit of gay inside them," and all that shit. Which, in this scenario in particular, I think is less of James Charles being a predator and more of just him being in denial after he was led on by this guy. I mean, this guy never definitively said he's gay or he wanted to be with James Charles. He did lead James Charles on for multiple days. If you look at when these messages were sent versus when Tati's birthday was, there was like a 10-day gap. He couldn't have told James Charles that he was straight in between that time at all. I guess he was still figuring it out. I guess neither of them are really at fault. But that's my point. I don't really think James Charles is a predator based off of this particular instance. So for Tati to outright say that without the proper information is really short-sighted on her part. It really just seems like she heard gossip from some of her colleagues in the beauty community about what actually happened, which was a kind of hyperbolic version of reality. And then she took it to use it in her video. I don't know, if she really cared about James Charles, I feel like she would have contacted him and tried to sort this out without making it public. Like, James Charles definitely did some inappropriate things, right? Him saying sexual stuff at Tati's birthday dinner with her extended family around, not okay. James Charles' ego and attitude and the way he acts in general, probably not okay. Him not taking Tati's business into account when promoting those vitamins, probably not okay. But these are all things that don't need to be aired out publicly. And when you're dealing with businesses and social media followings this big, saying something publicly versus privately makes a world of difference. It's literally career damaging versus not career damaging. And Tati decided to willingly tarnish James Charles' career just in order to try and protect her own, which I feel really wasn't necessary based off the stuff she explained in this video. I also find it really ironic that she criticizes James Charles for wanting to do a drama beauty documentary. Meanwhile, she's doing this shit to James Charles. It's just like, holy shit, the hypocrisy is insane there.
So he was popping off online about exposing the beauty community and doing a docu-series, and I was like, no. So after hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of talk, he arrived at the decision to not do it. I was like, it's gonna be like the downfall of your career. Don't do it. Like, don't expose the community because you're part of the community. Like, do you think you're better than everyone? Because you're not.
Now, in conclusion, does Tati's video have aspects of truth? 100%. Everything that James Charles did was correct in that video. I just think the intentions she's implying are completely incorrect. Because think about it, why the fuck would James Charles intentionally ruin her brand he doesn't really get anything out of it. If Tati's this generous mother figure, I'm sure she would offer James just as much, if not more money to promote her product rather than him promoting another product, especially since she's so torn up about James not promoting it in the first place. Why would James promote her competitor other than the reason he already stated? James has absolutely nothing to gain from screwing over Tati. I think James never wanted to promote vitamins or pills of any kind on his channels at all, but he did in that one instance because he was in a tough scenario with security. Is that a far-fetched theory? I don't really know. Maybe he should have promoted Halo. I mean, at this point, everybody in James's audience knows about Halo Beauty, so he might as well have done it, if I'm gonna be honest. Now, I'm not here to excuse and deny all of James's actions. A lot of these claims probably have merit, and James Charles, let's be honest, you can tell that he's egotistical and immature, but to be fair, he is a 19-year-old millionaire social media superstar. I feel like you gotta cut him some slack, especially if you're his self-proclaimed internet mother. I feel that having vitamins break the camel's back on this seems really petty, and then the fact that you so heavily promote it in that video that you know will get a lot of views and have a hunch that it would get a lot of good publicity knowing the reputation of James Charles in general. This really does seem like a business move to help promote your pills. Not gonna lie. And when I look at this situation, all I see is a bunch of 30-year-olds scolding and publicly humiliating a 19-year-old for making mistakes typical of a 19-year-old. This needed to be addressed, but it didn't need to be addressed publicly, and I have no idea why it was made public, other than to just smear James's name for profit. And it's working. You're gaining millions of subs, James is losing millions of subs, you're gaining profit, James is losing profit. Making a manipulative video like this, whether it was intentionally manipulative or not, was the perfect business move for your channel in your situation, because when you're in control of presenting a story against someone you want to defame, you have the power to take truths and manipulate people's motives behind that truth to make them look bad, as well as ignore info that would vindicate that assumption of their motive. It makes for a very convincing video, but we'll see how this plays out. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments to this situation as a whole, especially those of you who are more invested in the beauty community. I'm just kind of jumping into it with this scenario. Pretty new to this, so would love to hear your feedback. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.
And I've always blamed it on his age. I've been like, oh, he'll grow up. Like, it's fine. He'll grow up. We all know where we're bending things to be in our favor. Like, the DMs that I'm getting and the things that I'm hearing are so gross that I don't think that I can protect that. And I don't think I can help that. And I have to let this go.